Today's video is all about how to curate a wardrobe that you love while buying less. Hi and welcome to my channel, I'm McKay. It's a new year, which means that this is the perfect time for fresh starts. And in 2025, this is the year that we're going to be shopping intentionally and making better decisions for our wardrobes. Let's dive in. The first tip is to set boundaries for your wardrobe. We all know that adding new things to our wardrobes can be really fun and exciting, and while it may sound counterintuitive, I'm a huge believer that actually limiting what we add and having constraints is one of the best things that you can do for your style. Having constraints and limitations will help keep you focused while also reducing decision fatigue. Human brains love to add, but we hate to subtract. Research shows that our brains naturally default to adding instead of subtracting when it comes to solving problems. A study published in Scientific American actually shows that when people were presented with some kind of a puzzle, their solution was almost always to add instead of subtract, even when subtracting was actually a better solution. This is a study that I've been thinking about over and over again, and I just can't get it out of my head. And the same thing applies to our wardrobes. So often we get excited about new clothes, new trends, new things to add, but we rarely think about what things we want to remove or even avoid. One kind of boundary or constraint that you can think about is fit. I've come to learn that I'm very picky with the jeans and bottoms that I choose. I don't like things that are mid or low rise. I don't like things that are overly rigid. I don't like things that are tight around the hips. And I just generally don't like really fitted things like skinny jeans. So it doesn't matter how good those look on somebody else or on the model, I'm not gonna like those things for myself, and those are just automatic no's. Another great boundary to have is a color palette. Color is a great way to build a cohesive closet. So it's worth thinking through, what are the colors that you feel good in? Are there more opportunities to incorporate those things? Or maybe you wanna shift color palettes. Have those things in mind as you go shopping. And also think about the colors that you don't feel good in. Are there certain things that you want to avoid or maybe phase out of your wardrobe? That's something that you definitely wanna know as you're wardrobe planning and as you're beginning to buy things. Another boundary you can consider is fiber content. I've fully embraced natural fibers and I rarely will choose anything synthetic. And if it is synthetic, it needs to be for a specific purpose. So I'm not gonna be buying like fully synthetic sweaters. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. I don't care how cute the design is. I don't care if it's a low cost. I'm not gonna buy it. The last boundary you may want to consider is items that you already have plenty of. For example, if you already own 10 black tops, you might not need any more in that category and you can shift your priorities elsewhere. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm trying to just take the fun out of everything, but I think it's important to be intentional about the things that we do and don't bring into our closets. Tip number 2, anchor your wardrobe around key pieces for the year. Focus on the pieces in your wardrobe that you want to rely on for 2025, and you can think about these almost as like a mini capsule and a foundation to your closet. These are gonna be your anchors when you're making decisions, and generally you want things to be mixing and matching with these pieces. Think about the things that you reach for the most often or that you love wearing. This could be a favorite pair of jeans, your favorite shoes, it could be a bag. Think about what those items are that you really want to be the core pieces of your wardrobe. I'll include examples of mine as well. So this would include my favorite dress, it's gonna include my favorite pair of jeans, a variety of tops that I tend to wear on repeat, and a couple of tops that I don't wear as much, but they're so beautiful and I just love wearing them every time I do. I also included my wool winter coat and a transitional jacket. And then I have 3 bottoms. I have a skirt, pair of jeans, and a pair of linen pants for the summer. And then I included my most worn shoes, which are sneakers for most of the year and Birks for the summer. These are my tried and true. These are the things that are either my workhorses or things that spark joy in my wardrobe. These are things that I'm gonna be keeping in mind as I'm buying things, and I generally want new purchases to mix and match with these. In short, have anchor pieces that will inform the rest of your closet. I guarantee that if you do this, your closet is going to be much more focused and cohesive. Tip number 3, start with the biggest impact. You may have a lot of gaps or items on your wish list and it can be hard to know how to prioritize. Make sure that you're starting with the biggest impact items first. So think about what are the minimum changes that would have the biggest impact. For example, maybe one of your goals is to feel a bit more polished and put together, but you're always wearing the same puffer coat. And you realize it doesn't really match your vision. You may be able to switch out your puffer coat for a nice wool coat instead, and all of the things that you wear with that are instantly going to be elevated. Regardless of what you're wearing, it's going to bring it closer to that style goal of looking more polished. If you have a lot of priorities and gaps that you're wanting to fill, maybe start with the coat, work on some other priorities, and then eventually circle back to other things like sweaters or a winter hat or a winter scarf. On the other hand, maybe you have a lot of tops, but you don't actually have enough bottoms to choose from. So it doesn't matter how many more tops you add, you're still gonna be limited in the kind of styling that you can do. So in that situation, it would be much better to just get 1 or 2 more bottoms instead of endlessly chasing another top here and there that ultimately isn't gonna have that much of an impact. So start with the things that will make the biggest difference up front. Tip number 4, don't wait to have fun. Don't get me wrong, basics are really important, but don't let them completely dominate your closet. make sure that you're adding fun pieces that reflect your personality along the way. I accidentally got caught in the trap of focusing too much on basics and things that were going to be versatile. I didn't even realize how much I was doing this until I added a couple pieces that were a little bit more fun and did show my personality. So the first one was a linen dress from Reformation. I didn't get tons of opportunities to wear this, but I loved it so much every time I did. The other piece that I bought was the Cezanne Paula Babies, and again, I don't get tons of wear out of them, but they're so beautiful, they're so me, and I'm really glad that I added them. So try to balance the things that you're adding. And I know it might sound like this is intention with the last tip. You may have some pretty immediate gaps in your wardrobe right now, and if that's the case, definitely start with the thing that's gonna have the biggest impact. For me, I really rounded out my workhorses last year. I feel really good about the basics I have, and this year I'm more focused on adding unique and fun accessories, things like jewelry and bags, and I'm excited for that. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong here, just don't get too caught in all one or all the other. Tip number 5, create a lookbook. As you start curating your wardrobe, it can be really helpful to have a visual representation of your closet and the things that you're wearing. This could either be through digital tracking or just taking pictures regularly. Either way, they can both be really helpful. You'll start to pick up on themes over time, and you may notice that some pieces are either over or underrepresented, and you'll just learn a little bit more about your likes. You might notice that there are certain cuts, certain fabrics, certain colors, just certain things that you're drawn to or certain things that you tend to avoid, and it can help you be a little bit more analytical, which will help you make better decisions. Maybe you realize that you're always wearing the same dress and that you could actually do with another. Or on the flip side, maybe you notice that you actually aren't wearing something because it's the wrong material, it's the wrong color, or that maybe it's just a small fix and you need to get something tailored. This is one of the most helpful things I've done in developing my style. At the time, I had been very overwhelmed. I knew that my wardrobe wasn't working for me. I didn't like it. There were a lot of issues with it, but I didn't know how to actually start making progress, and I just didn't know where to start. I had seen a video from Naya Sierra, and she had talked about how she used Stylebook to track her wardrobe. So I ended up doing that, and I've been doing it now for 2 years. And I was able to figure out pretty quickly what things I was actually wearing, what things I liked, what things I disliked, and it gave me so much information to help me make better decisions. One of the things I learned, which may sound so obvious and a little bit silly, is I noticed that I was wearing a ton of sweaters, and it wasn't because I actually wanted to wear sweaters all the time, it's because I didn't have a lightweight jacket that I actually liked and wanted to wear. So instead, I was just bundling up, I was wearing layers, but really, I just needed another jacket. I also realized that I was reaching for a lot of blues and grays, and I just felt really good in those things. I wanted to keep wearing them. I also figured out that I don't actually dislike dresses, I just didn't have any that I liked. And more generally, I just realized that I didn't like wearing synthetic fibers. I was never gonna reach for them, and I was always going to choose natural fibers over synthetic. Anyways, it ended up giving me a ton of insight and direction. I made a full video about everything that I learned from digitally tracking my wardrobe, so if you're interested in learning more, you can go watch that. But anyway, either digitally tracking your wardrobe or taking regular pictures is gonna help you really figure things out a lot quicker. And it's so helpful to just have some kind of visual representation of your closet and your style. And it's also really fun to see how it changes over time and to kind of notice the patterns. So highly recommend that. Anyway, that was today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps my small channel. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.